am so excited to share this behind the scenes with you of how I went from six figures of debt to becoming a six-figure earner in my first year in entrepreneurship. While working only part-time, I have a receipt for you so I could do things like this, be on safari in South Africa. Right now, we are helping 97 entrepreneurs build custom, simple, revenue generating systems so they can work part time but receive full time income. And this is a behind the scenes of my story and how I did it and how you can do it too. I have made this super handy PDF so you can follow along. You can tell it's not fancy because I wanted to keep it focused on the good stuff that I'm telling you, but that you had a resource to reference and see receipts and examples all along the way. If we have not yet met yet, I am Kayla Jetta, co-founder of Rise Leadership Circle and author of the #1 new release on Amazon, Live Your Yes Life, Get What You Want Without Being Stopped by Money, Time, or Approval. And that is exactly what we help people do. Work less and receive more and live their yes life. I want to share with you some client wins so you know that it's not just me that has created something incredible like this. So here we have Kate. She recently created 4 pay in full clients, creating 20K of cash in just 2 weeks. Nicole, who is working part-time, prioritizing rest, and on track for 6 figures of revenue. Just 2 days into our mastermind, she received an inquiry for a $50,000 client. Amber just signed another $2,000 a month retainer client and she left her full-time job. Ashley just received her first paying client as a coach and was able to pay off 8K of debt in 1 week. Addison left her part-time job, launched her second business, and now is having 4-figure days. Kenzie is opening her 3rd location, told us that she is having no more burnout and having fun again. Melody moved her family to a new country in their dream home after letting go of a client that was causing more stress than it was worth, which opened her up to new opportunities. And the best part, there's so much more, but the best part about all of this is that not only do our clients get to have business results, but they are living their yes lives, which are spacious, free, and they are funding their business with these lives. For example, we have Chris, who's working out with her friend, having that good girlfriend time, getting a new car, and enjoying being a present grandmother. We have Christine, who is leading retreats, speaking on stages, writing books, prioritizing her health. We have Cassandra. She recently launched her multicultural magazine. She is traveling, doing the things that she loves, getting out and playing tennis, being active. We have Jay, who is frequently traveling around the world with his partner, spending time with his family in nature, going on hikes. What you'll see here is that we care about people, yes, having results, but living the life that they really love. Today, I'm going to share the behind the scenes details of how I lifted out of 6 figures of debt by becoming a 6-figure business owner in my first year of entrepreneurship without hustling, overworking, or using any paid marketing. Okay, so let me set the scene. I was in my mid-20s working as a fundraiser for a nonprofit. While I deeply cared about the mission, which was aligned with the stroke that I had when I was 19, I was incredibly unfulfilled. In fact, I was feeling what I think of as the worst 4-letter F word that there is, fine. My life was fine, and to me, fine felt like a slow death. My alarm blared at 6 a.m. every morning, and I would immediately reach for my phone and begin checking my emails. My anxiety was already going through the roof before I even stepped out of bed. Then I'd hop in the shower, and while my wet hair was still dripping down my back, I would be back on my phone checking emails again. I was working so hard to try and hit my fundraising goals, and I was always in a state of fear. I worked full days, eating in my car on the go between meetings, coming home to eat a bagged pre-made salad and a few pieces of frozen pizza. Well, I did receive a paycheck every 2 weeks. It was just enough to cover my portion of the rent in an apartment that I shared with a friend, my auto loan and insurance, and the minimum payments on all of my monthly student loans and medical bills, with interest growing faster than the payment I was making. I had just enough money left over for one sacred luxury, a monthly manicure. That was it. I was not living large. I was safe and healthy, but just barely getting by. I found this photo deep in the archives. This is probably like back in the Motorola days, certainly before the iPhone time. And I was like, yeah, this is what I was like, right? Just on the inside, probably having some kind of feeling, but masking it with this smile on the outside. So it seemed outwardly like I was happy, but inside I was just barely getting by. I had a history of dating all the wrong guys for me, and I was newly in a long distance relationship with someone that I really wanted to be the one. I knew that I loved him and that he seriously had his life together, but I also knew that on paper, I did not look like I was bringing much to the table, and I was always afraid that he was going to find someone better. So there I was, fine. So back to that cold January night where I'm sitting in bed with my hair unwashed for days, with a bar of chocolate in one hand and my phone to scroll Facebook in the other. I was stopped in my tracks when I saw a photo of two people who I respected as entrepreneurs in a photo together. They lived across the country from one another, and my curiosity was piqued as to how they knew one another. Based on the caption of the photo, it looked like they were at a graduation celebration for a coach training program. It was the very same program whose website I had perused a few months earlier while daydreaming about other career paths. But I talked myself out of doing anything then because it didn't seem possible. But in that moment, a wave of courage came over me. So I went back to the life coach training website and I booked a call for Monday morning. A part of me knew that I had no business being on that call. My debt was high and my options shallow. Another part of me had hope. I hoped that they would tell me that the next training started in September, like a school year did, and that I could get a student loan. So Monday came and I got on that call. I had been running late to get home and I hit the curb of my apartment like I always did while on the phone hearing the details. My heart sank as I was told that the next program started in just 3 weeks and that I would need to travel out of state for 1 weekend a month every month for a year, which meant extra travel expenses, and that it cost $16,500. I was north of $100,000 of debt. I was living paycheck to paycheck with no savings account, let alone a spare $20 bill lying around. Now, I did have one credit card with a $500 limit for emergencies. You know, like if I got a flat tire on the side of the highway and I needed to call a tow truck. This was an emergency for my soul. Sitting in the parking lot in my apartment complex, I took out this sole credit card and maxed it out, putting a $500 deposit for the program on it. What was interesting is that in that moment, it did not feel reckless at all. It felt like answering my soul's calling was the most responsible thing for me to do. The next day, I had a meeting with the branch manager at my local credit union. I was hopeful that they could help get me some kind of loan for the rest of the tuition, and they said that they were willing to give me half as a personal loan, and I gratefully accepted. Now I had 6 months to come up with the rest. I began to rapidly transform being in a powerful coaching container. I started to realize how all of the things that I thought were facts were actually circumstances, and that I was powerful enough to create new options for myself. I was changing from the inside out. For the first time in my life, I was actually falling in love with myself, believing in myself, and knowing that a new future was possible. 6 months into my year-long training program, I gave a 2-month notice to my job. I had enough belief in myself that I could be a full-time coach, that I could be an entrepreneur. I had worked with 4 paying clients up to this point, who by now all their contracts had completed. So though I knew I could get clients, I currently had 0 clients while giving my notice. And if I'm being honest, I really thought that getting those first 4 clients was all beginner's luck. I did not have a clue how I was going to build a business. My transition date came and I plugged my nose and jumped. I was now an entrepreneur. The first 90 days were tough. It was like Groundhog Day every day. I would wake up in a panic, wondering why had I put myself so far out of my comfort zone. I had no clients, no income, and high monthly bills. Then I would do my morning ritual and get myself into a state of possibility. I took the actions I knew to take in my business, trusting the process, at least just for a few minutes. But I was back in despair as each day drew to a close. I ended each night crying on my bathroom floor in fear. That is a true story. This is all a true story, my friends. And then the fruits of the seeds I planted started to bloom. By month 4, I had made just enough to pay most of my bills. By month 5, I made the same amount that I was receiving each month from the job that I had left. And in month 6, I doubled it. I saw my first 5-figure month and then celebrated a 6-figure year as an entrepreneur. So that's what my life looked like before I decided to plunge into possibility, bet on myself, and build a robust business that centers on being of service to others. Now it looks so different. I work part-time hours and I receive a beautiful full-time income. I have created more than $3 million in revenue as a coach, which funds what I call my yes life. Here are some pictures of me kayaking with my husband, having excellent seats to see Taylor Swift with my best friend in Canada, with my husband in London before we head to Africa. And remember when I said that I thought my only hope was marrying a man who would be okay footing the bill? And then when I said I was hopelessly in love with the guy that I was dating when I made the decision to turn my life upside down? Well, he's my husband now. And while he is an incredibly generous man, I am able to financially contribute to all of our life in the way that I wanted to. It turns out we both got the good end of the deal. I became the person that I wanted to marry, and I got to marry him too. Now we live both in Wisconsin and at our beautiful lake house, which is near my family in Upper Michigan. We travel back and forth. And we have the family I have dreamed of, 3 spunky dogs, Murray, Millie, and Melvin. In addition to the 2 homes we live in, we also own a rental house that affords us the chance to be of service to our tenants who are looking for a safe and nice place to live without having to deal with so much of the drama that exists in today's housing market. And as a bonus, it's a revenue stream for us too. Now, this is the least important part, but it's my reality, so I will acknowledge it all the same. I frequently travel around the world where I want, when I want on luxury vacations. I drive my dream car. I shop at the boutiques I love without checking price tags, all while maxing out my investment portfolio contributions and growing my savings account for our other future dreams. And I know that's just stuff, but I'm not ashamed to say that it is the icing on the cake. More than that, what is deeply important to me is how fulfilling my life is. I have robust relationships with my family and friends. I hear from my clients on the daily about how our work is impacting their lives in meaningful ways. I get to serve my time, money, and talents to causes that I care about. Here's a screenshot. At the end of many of our calls, I like to ask, how are you feeling? What's occurring for you? And here's a snapshot of what some people were saying. Supported and I have direction. Phenomenal. Changing. Stretched. That we're all in this together. My mind is spinning and I'm loving it. My days in life are spacious. To me, one of the richest experiences that there is being able to spend an afternoon on my hammock by the water reading a fun fiction book in the middle of the week. Frequently, that's exactly where you'll find me. Or I'm kayaking with my dog Melvin, or enjoying a smoothie bowl with a friend, or soaking in an Epsom salt bath. I recently ran a half marathon. I strength train regularly, which helps me match my outside strength with my inside strength. Now, none of these things may interest you or be your definition of a life well lived, and that is totally okay with me. I just want to show you how different my life looks than what it did. How all of the things that I once dreamed of and thought impossible are now my reality. And that's what I'm committed to in my work, to help people live the life of their dreams, starting from exactly where they are with all of their circumstances. After 2 years as a solopreneur, I went into business with my mom, and it's one of the best things in my life. Together, we run our company called Rise Leadership Circle, where we help our clients who are entrepreneurs have what they want by being who we are. We wrote a book. It's really a manual that features our best tools, exercises, and resource, which was a #1 new release on Amazon. It's called Live Your Yes Life, Get What You Want Without Being Stopped by Money, Time, or Approval. We've been in business for 7 years together and have the honor of helping our clients create results and live lives like you've already heard me talk about. Okay, so I'm about to get into the system of how I actually did what I did. And this system that I'm going to share with you is for you if you're currently feeling overworked and underwhelmed, and what you're trying as a remedy is scheduling hacks, working on nights and weekends to get more done. Or maybe you're feeling like you can't afford the things you want, let alone some bills. And so you're trying to save, to budget, to be frugal, to work extra hours. Maybe you're feeling at a loss for how to grow your business. So you're trying lots of different social media strategies, networking events, posting regularly. Perhaps you're feeling defeated that you work hard, but you don't see more income. And so you try to work even harder in hopes that it turns around. Or maybe you're feeling passionate about helping your clients with your work, but you just feel like you're talking into a void with your marketing. So you try to get in front of new audiences by being on multiple social media platforms and writing content that you hope people will like, comment, and share, but you're hearing crickets. And what you really want is time freedom, the ability to be present with your family and have time for you. Financial freedom, to be no longer crippled by debt, able to save and invest and have the things you most want. To make an impact, to help other people with your passion because you know it will make a difference for them. You want spaciousness, ease, and joy, a life that can go at your pace. It can be both fulfilling and exciting, and also have space for slow mornings and rejuvenating weekends. And you want to receive a full-time income. Many times that means 6 figures for people, while working part-time hours. Okay, so these are the 5 pillars of success. Let's talk about what you may have been trying, why that doesn't work, and what to actually do instead, which is what I call the 5 pillars of success. So I'm going to give you the 5 things I see people trying that don't work, and I'll tell you why it doesn't work. And then I'll match that with a pillar of success that does work. And these are the 5 specific things that I did to make 6 figures in my first year and continue to do to this day. So the first thing that doesn't work is thinking that it's all strategy. This doesn't work because the truth is that every strategy works, but strategies are surface level. So if you just keep switching the strategy up, you're not actually getting down to the root of what will create transformation. Strategies work because of the self-belief and trust that powers them. Let me tell you a story about my client Liz. Liz and I had been working together for years when she got into a bit of a funk. Her business was going through a recalibration after letting go of a team member and her business partner moving on to a new opportunity. She spent months trying to update all of her systems, redo her website, make her client booking system easier, time block, and she wasn't making any sales. In fact, she was now 6 months behind on her mortgage payments. We kept coaching, and something started to shift for Liz. We were really focusing on deepening into a self-belief, dialing up her capacity for self-trust. Then she signed 4 painful clients, creating $20K of cash in 2 weeks, and was able to make 3 mortgage payments in 1 day. After a few weeks, she sent me a text that said, "So I've been feeling like I was back in my overwhelmed cycle again and having money scarcity start to dig its claws back in. I did some of the interruption work the past few days that you and Lisa have been coaching me on, and the results have been amazing. I've had 3 consultations booked today, scheduled a large bill to be paid, and I'm not hustling anymore. Win." Okay, so the success pillar, instead of what you've been trying is just changing the surface level strategy, trying a different strategy, what you want to do instead is take on the inner work of belief in yourself and what's actually possible. This is what I really leaned into when I created my first six-figure year, then multi-six-figure year, and now more than $3 million as a coach. It is always an increase of belief, then strategy. In our book that I mentioned on Amazon, I actually include a belief scale that shows the 5 levels of belief that we have to move through. It's not just yes or no, there are actually 5 levels. So instead of just strategy, like Liz was like, update my website, make booking easier, try to change things to be more marketable, we actually did the belief work, and that is what changed things. That's what allowed the strategy to work. We help our clients focus on this elevated self-belief in 15 minutes a day with our Yes Life Wealth Ritual practice. So we have our clients start their morning with our signature practice that helps them anchor into big self-belief that they can take powerful actions from throughout the day. Our client Kenzie started doing our Yes Life Wealth Ritual practice and received a surprise $1,000 check on the first week. She found that she was able to spend significantly less time at work and more time at home. She's currently opening the 3rd location of her business and just spent this last weekend doing a 5K with her elementary age boys. Inner work creates outer results in work and in life. Not only do you get to believe in yourself, but you will find that life starts to work more in your favor. You're taking the right actions with more ease, less resistance, and less time. You get to be present and focus on what matters most. Okay, the second thing that doesn't work, but I see all the time, is overworking. Thinking that working more will create more results. This doesn't work because often what we are spending time on is the wrong things. Busy work doesn't create clients. In fact, a lot of what is suggested in business books and podcasts just fill our schedule instead of our bank accounts. On top of that, you become tired and eventually burnt out, so you're not bringing your best, most rested self to your business. An article by ResearchGate economists, easy for me to say, shows a strong negative correlation between national income and hours worked. Richer countries tend to have a shorter average working hours, yet higher productivity and income per hour. When our client Chris first came to us, her business was all in person as she had a brick and mortar location. So she thought that she had to work more hours in order to make more money. But that was having her exhausted and not be able to be the fun, present grandma that she wanted to be. Through our coaching, we helped Chris open ways that she could serve her clients while reducing her working hours. Now she has celebrated 3 six-figure years in a row. Her first multi-six-figure year, is able to vacation regularly and take extended time off as her daughters continue to grow their families. I love this message she recently sent me. She said, working my DMOs, met my financial goals for January, and got some accountability partners for my health and wellness business. Today is a great day to get some of my house cleaned up. Okay, so the second success pillar, instead of just working, what we want to do is have a daily method of operation. One of the first things we do with our clients is help them create a very simple system that we call a DMO, or a daily method of operation. This helps us identify the top revenue producing actions that can be done in 1 hour per day. We find that most people are not taking revenue generating actions before they create a DMO. But implementing this allows them to drive revenue in a short time each day, freeing them up to do the things that they love most. I actually recently dropped from working 5 to 6 hours a day to now 3 to 4 hours a day, no more than 12 to 16 days a month, by empowering my own DMO. Focusing on revenue generation instead of more hours worked keeps you fresh, focused, and free to give your attention to what you really care about and have the funds to support your dream life. This is actually a picture that I just took last week. So I'm just back from essentially 2 weeks of vacation. I worked a total of like maybe 10 hours, probably even less, over the last 2 weeks. One of my good friends was visiting, my sister-in-law and my brother were in town. And so I just really I got to plug in and support my clients where I was needed to, the things that matter most to me. grow my business with my DMOs, and be unplugged and on vacation. So this is a snapshot of us. Last Monday, we spent the whole day at the beach, and then we went out and just had some fun. We played cornhole, the bag toss game. We played that out at one of our favorite local spots. Okay, what doesn't work, number 3, is trying every strategy you've heard about and often all at once. This is like throwing a handful of spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something sticks. But that doesn't work because your energy is split, it's all over the place, and instead of being potent, you are waiting for potential. An article by Becky Kane on Medium tells how trying to multitask can reduce productivity by as much as 40%, meaning the more you spread yourself across different tasks, the less efficient you become. I have my own flop story to report on this one. There was a chapter in my life in the early days of my business when I was trying to reach a specific income goal in a short time. I was working so hard, doing everything I could think of. I ran my body down so much trying to do all the things at once that I created a kidney infection. And still, I didn't stop. From my bed, trying to recover but failing, I sent out over 100 invitations to people to come to a free workshop I was hosting where I would give away $1,000 cash. Every single person declined. My energy was split, exhausted, and unwell. People could feel that. I was trying to do it all, which was actually having me do nothing. After waving my white flag, giving myself a full recovery, I got back to the strong business sense I knew. I embraced the simple system that had continually gotten me results, the same system I help my clients create now. A few weeks after the kidney infection flap, I took a call with a new to me person who had, unbeknown to her, following in my client generation funnel. And here, from the comfort and ease of my hammock, I signed my first $25,000 client. So success pillar number 3 is having one simple revenue generating system that guides your business. The remedy to spaghetti on the wall, trying every strategy, is to have one powerful revenue generating system. We call this system the divine profit method. It's a 4-step flow that brings new leads to you, warms them up by getting them a win before they even hire you, become your client, and then you help them get the real results that they've hired you for. This is exactly the system that I work to create my first $25,000 client from my hammock. Now, I have endless success stories, both personally and from clients on this. It's how I built my entire business. It's how we've helped clients leave their 9-to-5 jobs to become entrepreneurs. It's how our client Christine came to us as a single mom with $25,000 of credit card debt, but then made her first 6 figures in her first 6 months of working with us. And this, my friends, is as close as it comes to passive income. Once you have a simple, repeatable revenue generating system, you can start to automate the process. Show up and add your personal touch where needed and see the real revenue that you want without spinning your wheels and wondering which of the thousands of methods will hopefully work for you. Okay, what doesn't work, number 4? Trying to do it all by yourself, thinking that you need to prove or earn your success. This doesn't work because it's rooted in scarcity. The energetics of trying to do everything on your own says, I'm not worthy of support. This disconnect from self-worth and a heavy lift creates unnecessary exhaustion and time debt. When I was first getting started, this was definitely me. Then I hired my first team member, paying her $20 an hour for 10 hours per month. With that $200 a month investment, I got back 40 hours of time for me. So she was working 10 hours, but it was saving me 40 hours because she could do those tasks in a fourth of the time that I could. She was significantly more efficient at the things that I hired her to do than I was. So I could A, work less, and B, use those hours to bring on more clients. I had my first $10,000 month once I made the investment to hire her. So success pillar number 4 is have the right support in the right place. This allows you to focus on revenue generating and delivering the products and services that are the reason you started your business in the first place. And the second important thing is that as you are receiving revenue in your business, that you have a system in place to make sure that you are paying yourself, saving for taxes, and investing in support. Allowing yourself to be supported by people and systems in the ways that matter for you and your business opens you up to abundance. Okay, and what doesn't work? Number 5, being afraid of debt. This doesn't work because of the resistance that the fear introduces. Okay, so this one is kind of heady, but I know you can stick with me. When we are afraid of having debt, we are actually afraid of the opposite too. Debt and income are opposite sides of the same coin. If we don't want to have $10,000 of debt, we're sending an energetic signal out that says we also aren't a match for $10,000 of income. Now, this does not mean that we have to have debt, but the fear of it keeps us from being able to receive the revenue that we desire. Having resistance around money coming in or going out is having resistance around money, period. Becoming fixated on how you perceive and believe that it is not good for you to have any debt at all keeps you in a disempowered relationship with money, from investing in the most important resources for you to have, and out of the flow of receiving. There is something called the universal law of polarity, which says that everything has an opposite and that there is duality in the universe. This means that poverty and wealth are attached. So if we are resisting one side, we are resisting the whole. Let me tell you about how this played out with Amanda. Before Amanda became our client, we were talking about her desire to have her business generate $10,000 a month consistently. Through our coaching, we identified that she had a lot of things she wanted to invest in to make growing her business easier, but she already had a bit of debt, so she said she felt paralyzed and out of options. I asked her how it felt to think about $10,000 of debt, and she instantly said, heavy, like it's so much. Which we then looked at how that belief is actually the thought that she has around receiving $10,000 too. It would take a lot of work to create $10,000 because it's heavy, it's so much. Can you see how she's holding $10,000 as so much? It's so much debt and it's also so much to make. She had a massive aha in that moment. She started working with us to rewire her money mindset. And not only did she start to bring on new clients, but she also got an email from one of the resources that she was looking to hire, and they were offering her a significant savings from what she was previously quoted. So new ways for her to have what she desired were opening up all around her. When we can be in neutrality, allowing, and willing, then we are available for what we really want. Before I became a six-figure earner in my first year of entrepreneurship and paid off more than $70,000 of debt in 1 year, I was in total fear of my debt. So much fear that at first I did not even know how much debt I had. I just knew it was a lot, more than I could fathom. So I thought it would just be better not to even know the total. I had resigned myself to know I would be paying it off for the rest of my life. Being in such fear that I wasn't even in the know with money kept me out of receiving mode too. I was not able to ever get ahead in this place. But once I totaled up my debt, finding out that it was over $100,000, and then became willing to go into even more debt because that was the most accessible way for me to get the money to invest in the coach training program that I was committed to, things began to rapidly shift. Hence, I paid off 70K of debt in 1 year. My willingness to acknowledge my debt instead of fear or judge it also became my willingness to receive wealth. Success pillar number 5 is being willing to flow with money in and out. A recent example of this is our client Cheyenne. After meeting Cheyenne, we had a conversation and agreed that the best support that could help her grow her business and reach her goals was our coaching community called The Circle. At this time, the monthly investment for the program was $500 a month. She shared that she had some really big fear coming up about the investment. She had just 6 weeks left on maternity leave after giving birth to her second child, so the worry about a bigger daycare bill was looming. Cheyenne and her husband had started a business together the previous year, and they were in the early days of making it go. Plus, Cheyenne had her own business that she was running. Not to mention, the business she had with her husband had a big need for some equipment so they could do a better job and get more clients. She decided to dial up her willingness and trust her ability to create income while receiving aligned support. Within the next week, she made, seemingly out of nowhere, the money that she needed to cover her next coaching payment, in addition to all her regular income. A few weeks after that, they received a $120,000 small business loan, which gave them the capital to get the equipment they needed and start having more orders flowing in. Cheyenne celebrated her shift in the willingness to hold money differently and allowed it to come with so much more ease. Not only does willingness allow you to drop the judgment and resistance to any past debt, but it opens you up to receive what you desire and then use what you're receiving to experience financial freedom and have the funds to pay off past agreements. Okay, let's recap the 5 pillars of success. These are the things that I did and continue to do to radically transform my relationship with money and become an entrepreneur with big profits. Number 1, inner work. Believe in yourself and what's actually possible. Number 2, working a daily method of operation. Number 3, having one revenue generation system. Number 4, having the right support in the right place. And number 5, the willingness for money to flow in and out. I love this quote that one of my mentors, Ori, says. Learning is a waste of time if you don't take action. So you've been learning, but let's talk about the action that there is for you to take now. By now, you might be identifying yourself in many of the stories that I've told. Have you been trying to make more money by just fixing the strategy and overlooking the necessary inner work? Or perhaps you've been overworking, believing that time is money, but you're not actually taking the revenue generation actions that will grow your business in less time. Or maybe you're trying so many different strategies at once, hoping that one of them will come through instead of the dedication to work a curated, intentional revenue-focused system that's designed for you. Have you been trying to prove or earn your success by doing it all on your own, letting it be harder and take longer than it needs to? It's not that you can't do it alone, it's that you don't need to. Support creates ease and flow and revenue. Or have you been letting a fear of doubt keep you stuck and stagnant? A fear of debt. A fear of debt keep you stuck and stagnant instead of getting into a space of willingness so you can open up to all possibilities. So there are 2 paths in front of you. I want to know, which path will you take? Path A is where you figure it out yourself alone. It is slower. You must plan for ample mistakes. It is expensive and it is painful. I have walked path A. I'm speaking from personal experience. And then there's also path B, which is if you want speed. Path B is where we go at it together, faster. We can count on less mistakes, not none, but less. You get a return on your investment, and it's exciting. It's just darn well fun. Now, I want you to know that if you had been walking along path A, don't be discouraged. It is how so many of us start. So these are the things that we help our clients do. Number 1, we guide them through the inner work that creates outer results. Number 2, we focus on specific revenue generating actions so you can work less and make more. 3, we build a curated strategy to scale your business that you can rinse, wash, and repeat. 4, bust through any old patterns, thinking that you have to earn it and instead rest in your worthiness to be supported. And 5, open up to a new willingness so you can receive the highest possibility and most fulfilled life funded by your business. Okay, so if you want to work less and earn more, this is your invitation to schedule a one-on-one results mapping call. On this call, we will identify the specific results that you are looking to create in the next 6 to 12 months, call out any current speed bumps slowing you down because knowledge is power, map out the most aligned path for the creation of your dream results, and explore if any of our coaching programs would be the best support to help you get there. We open a limited number of these calls each month. Typically, these calls are paid with a $250 investment, but because you've already invested your time by watching this workshop right now, we will waive the call fee. So you can schedule this as a complimentary session. In order to book the results mapping call with no fee, book yours today. There is a link in the show notes right near where you're watching this video where you can book the call. I am so grateful that we've got this time to spend this time together, and to be sure that we're making good use of both of our time. If you're continuing on to the next step of booking a results mapping call, I want to highlight who is a qualified candidate for our programs. A qualified candidate is someone who has a business or is intending to start a business because you know that you want to help others. And we can help people as early as just idea generation. I don't even know what business is, but I have some ideas. A qualified candidate is someone who is committed to living a soulful, fulfilling life, and you desire for your business to be able to fund it. Rather than being a workaholic, you desire to be present with all of the people and experiences that you love in life, and love that your business can support that. You are not working to retire, you are living a beautiful life now. If you are willing to make yourselves a priority along with the other people in life that you love, because you believe that you are worthy of more than leftovers. And if you are willing to open up to new possibilities and abundance. But honestly, we're just not going to be a fit if you are someone who wants to work around the clock trading hours for dollars, likes to jump from one shiny object to the next, thinks that your value comes from working more instead of being who you are, is uncoachable, combative, or refuses to choose new possibilities for yourself. And if that is you, we still love you. I just know that we're not going to jive together. So this is your chance to schedule a results mapping call. This will be either with myself or one of the amazing coaches on my team. Any of us will take great care of helping you bring your dreams to life. But like I said, we have a limited availability, and we also do not allow rebookings if you ghost the call. If you do need to reschedule, please make sure you give us a 24-hour notice. And a reminder, because you watched this video and have already made this time investment right now, we will waive the $250 fee. This call is our gift to you. So are you ready to open up to your dream results, to see how you can earn more and work less? Then your next step is to book a results mapping call. You can do it in the show notes right where you're watching this video. I am so grateful for the opportunity to share all this behind the scenes with you. I hope I'll get to see you on a call. I love to hear what resonated for you in this video and how you feel that you can open up to some new possibilities. Thank you so much for your time today. It was great to be with you. I will talk to you soon.